Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So it's hilarious, but sad at the same time.
What did you do to the dog?
I didn't do anything. What happened was I was upstairs with you and I came out and her and Yogi were waiting for me. So I don't know where Yogi went, but she followed me downstairs and I went to get our equipment to set us up for tonight. And only one of the bags was there because I had transferred the audio off of the recorder. So I had to go back upstairs. Well, while I'm going back upstairs, she's drinking water. And so she doesn't see me go back upstairs. And so I go and I normally turn to the left at nighttime. I don't go in my office very much at night. You got to admit that. I don't work a lot at night. Went upstairs, hung a right, grabbed the bag. And in that time, she's finished drinking, but she's realized that I've gone upstairs. Mm-hmm. So she starts to, at full speed, head towards the upstairs, and I turn the corner at the top of the stairs, and her eyes bounce out of her head like on a spring. Like she was just like, "What the hell?" And then she stopped short, and then she started choking on the water, and that's the sad part. Like the funny part was everything up to there. And the sad part is then she comes downstairs and I'm telling her, "Come here, Bree. Let me help you. Come here. Let me help you." Because I figured I could have, pat her chest a little bit and helped her out. She acted like I was going to kill her. Like,
Well, she blames you for the choking in the first place.
Well, and the thing is, but that's the thing. We're more of a reprimanding family than we don't physically hit people here or animals. Like we say no. There's
a tone that Bree knows she's in trouble.
She knows, and I think she thought, and I was being all like, "Come here, Bree. Everything was good."
But that voice makes her think something's wrong.
Why?
Because when we used to try to lure her places, that's the voice we used.
Also, I should have just talked to her like normal. I tried that at first. It didn't work.
Well, then she was really traumatized.
Well, in all fairness, she was frickin' choking. But that dog
is a psychopath.
Wasn't listening. So whatever. It is what it is. But so that brings us to another special episode.
More people that don't listen?
In the series of the
Reality Rant.
And by the way, since you mentioned that, I noticed we have gotten some reviews lately. People don't mind. It helps us grow the show. Leave us a rating and a review. If you're going to leave us less than 5 stars, just ignore me. No, I'm just kidding. We want a real rating. But, if you're going to criticize us, all I ask is that you be more specific. Like someone wrote, well, all I can say is vapid. Well, what was vapid? Was it a specific episode you listened to? Is it all the episodes you listened to? Is it me? Is it her? Is it both of us together? Because most people say we have great chemistry together.
Wow.
But this person was like that. And I was just like, it doesn't bother me that it's negative. It is what it is. You either like it or you hate it. Whatever. And I know that to be the case. We're either going to get 5s or 1s. That's pretty much it. Everything in between is pretty much off limits. Maybe a 4. But nobody's going to give it a 3 because that's middle of the road.
Right.
So they either love it or they hate it.
People who leave 3s don't leave reviews.
Criticism, it's only helpful if you give me where I was vapid. Who was vapid? In what way were we vapid? That would be helpful because we want to use those to improve the content that we give to you. And we can't improve it if you don't give us your real feedback. So please get over there to wherever you listen to podcasts and rate us and leave us a nice comment and be helpful. Every comment is nice as long as you're helpful. So, Reality Rant. Today we're going to talk about Double Shot of Love, the second season, with none other than Vinny and Polly from the Jersey Shore. Now,
this is another one of his shows, people.
I have explained to you guys before that we in this household definitely have a thing where we come up with a strike system against shows. If we both strike it out, it's just done. We kill it. But if only one of us strikes it out, the other one is welcome to kill it, or they're welcome to go ahead and watch it. Just try not to watch it in the other person's presence. And we're pretty good about that. It's why those shows tend to back up on the thing and have to be caught up, because we're pretty good about that. This is one of those shows, I think. Even though the last time I watched it without you, you got mad at me.
Did I say I didn't like it? No, I just said it was one of your shows.
Which always, 100% of the time, so far, has been defined as Torya can't stand it.
In your mind, clearly you define things weird.
We've discussed it.
The only show you watch that I can't stand is Siesta Key. So, yeah, you're making stuff up in your mind.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I will remember that. I'll remember that. Makes it even harder to have shows that I watch just by myself, but that's okay.
Kind of like you used to insist that I didn't like it when you watched Live PD. But really, I just didn't care. It was kind of long and kind of boring, so I would pay 5% attention.
But here's why
Why did it matter?
But on that one, here's why I would say you didn't like it. You used to complain, oh, we're going to watch. Isn't there anything else we can watch besides this? Isn't there anything else?
The only thing I didn't
Can't we watch
like.
something different?
Literally,
why are we watching this again? There's like 6 hours of this every weekend. I'm just showing you. Now, wouldn't you think if that was me to one of your shows that you'd think I hated it? Come on.
You do complain like that about a bunch of my shows.
I do,
and
I don't deny it. But you're complaining about that show like that.
No, I'm not. You're not listening. I'm denying the fact that you said I hate it. How about that?
So anyway, now that I know that you complaining incessantly doesn't mean the same thing as me complaining incessantly, we can now separate those two things. And I'll just have to ask you point blank, do you like the show or not? Because what you're basically telling me is there's really no way for sure to tell unless I ask you and you tell me. So that's fair. Nothing wrong with that. I can do that. Just have to know these things and to know the rules of engagement. Otherwise, can't engage properly. With that said, tell them about this show. What's this show about? Double Shot of Love.
Well, it used to be a dating show for Vinny and Polly, and now it's just turned into Jersey Shore 2.0.
Yeah, and see, like, that first part kind of has to be explained, though, because of how the second part worked out, right? Because essentially what she's saying is the first one was a dating show. They were each looking for a girlfriend.
And they brought like 20 women to the house, and both of them dated all of them until they
weren't
each
restricted.
picked 2.
That's what I was just going to say. They weren't like, oh, these 6 are for Polly and these 6 are for Vinny. It was 12 women. And they each had their pick. And they narrowed it down and they narrowed it down. Well, what happened in the first season was that Vinny picked a chick and sent another chick home. And the chick he sent home's name is Maria. She's on season 2. Then Polly had a chick that he narrowed it down to as well, and her name is Nikki. And Nikki, though, kind of got kicked to the curb because he wasn't ready for a relationship at that time. So he kicked her to the curb. Now, she's also on season 2. So that's important to note because of what happens in this crazy bleeping show.
Yeah, so now it's just a bunch of dumbasses in a hotel room in Vegas being dumbasses. And Vinny and Polly.
And they added some men to the mix.
Yeah.
If you can call them that.
I wouldn't.
But, all right. So tell me 2 things that bug you about this show. And I'll do the same.
The fact that all of the people are morons. The fact that all of the
If
people
you
dress like
softened your
hookers.
if you softened your use of the word all, I would 100% agree with you, because I don't think they're all morons.
Well, that's your opinion. Yes, it is. And the fact that all of the women dress like hookers.
That could be a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
Mostly it's a bad thing with that group. My two things are the kind of, I call it insanity, because they do the same thing over and over and over again and they want a different result. And then they get shocked when they don't get a different result. That's one thing that drives me crazy. And the other thing, would be, I would call it, instead of dressing like a hooker, I would just call it inappropriately dressed. Goes for the men and the women. Like, there's situations where you don't dress a certain way, and then there's situations where it doesn't matter if you dress that certain way.
It's less applicable with the men on that show. They're mostly t-shirt and shorts kind of dudes.
Yeah, but even that, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not right. Look at even Vinny learned how to dress.
Yep.
So that's two. So now tell me two things that you like about the show.
I don't know if there are two things that I like about it, other than the fact that I like to complain about how stupid all the people are.
Well, you just said you actually like the show.
So?
But you can't come up with two things that you like about the show?
You clearly don't get it. I like to complain about how dumb they are.
But that's not liking the show, but okay, whatever. That's the only thing?
I think so.
See, I like Paulie himself. I think that he is... he's a little starstruck by his newfound wealth, but who wouldn't be? He's overall a nice dude. He treats people right. He seems to grasp, like, I'm at work, I have to act professionally kind of thing, and so does Vinny now.
Well, he's almost 40. You'd hope he'd grown up by now.
But, well, yeah, you'd hope so. So I like that guy. And I also kind of laugh at I like the premise of them having to work at that nightclub, because, it's a pretty exclusive nightclub. So they're going to have to offer really damn good service, or else they're not going to be up to snuff. I think. But
you notice they cage them off to one section,
yeah,
that they say is the VIP section, but really we all know it's only the VIP section because it's the section where the double shot at love people are serving.
I think it's where the MTV people are sitting.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, those are the VIPs. It's
so,
just the crew.
In reality, they could completely fuck up and it wouldn't matter at all.
It wouldn't matter to the club, but that's my point. Like, it makes me laugh to think that they're supposedly going to be able to serve at a high level VIPs like that.
Most of those women are cocktail waitresses at home.
At best, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that they don't have potential to go further.
But they're cocktail waitresses, so you'd think they'd be good at being waitresses.
Well, but what they're doing is they're coming from a standpoint of, I worked at the local cafe, so I should easily be able to work here at this huge nightclub in Las Vegas, and I don't have anything to have to prove myself. I shouldn't have to work the day shift where the tips suck. I should immediately go to the night shift. It's this entitled thing that people have, that like, well, I want that, so I should have that. Doesn't work that way.
Fair enough.
Yep. That's interesting, though, it's interesting to me that the club decided to allow that for publicity. That's how much behind Pauly D they really are.
Well, I don't think Dre's is one of the most popular places to go in Vegas until Pauly started DJing there.
In January, when we were in Vegas, I looked up tickets for like all of the big shows.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night and a Friday night. Uh-huh. And all of them had tickets of some sort available. Nosebleed, whatever.
Okay.
Every last one. Pauly's were sold out for months in advance.
Yeah, people like him.
Yeah, well, he's kicking ass right now. And that's going to help that nightclub. And that's why the nightclub is advertising on the TV show, because they're also supportive of him like he's supportive of them. And I think that's how these places get big, Well,
like people are going to want to go to Dre's now just because Pauly was there.
Yeah.
Because it was on TV, because they're stupid.
Well, like we did that one time when we went to Vegas and we picked up the bar rescue. Couldn't think of the name. I saw the guy, John Taffer.
And we went to Champagne's.
And then we went to Champagne's. It was great. We had a great time.
It's the best dive bar I've ever been to, I think.
And we would have never gone there. Never. I mean, think about where it was. It was on the residential area where we would normally live if we lived there. It was in the residential area.
But how I could miss a Frank Sinatra-themed dive bar is beyond me.
I know, right? And it was cool. It was so good. We had such a good time there. But that's why these places team up, because it gets them both exposure that they want and need.
Yep.
Make sense? So I think those are two things that I like, two things you like, two things I don't like, two things you don't like. Give the show, what do we use? We use a 10 scale rating. So
I think so.
Give the show scale of 1 to 10, 1 being worst, 10 being best. Give the show a rating.
6.
6. I would give it 7.5.
All right.
Why do you give it a 6?
Because it's entertaining enough, but I wouldn't clamor to watch it every day.
Got it. And I give it a 7.5 because I think it's extremely entertaining, but it could be a bit better.
I'm not anxiously awaiting next week's episode.
I am.
Well, there you go. That's the difference.
Yeah, I guess. That's interesting. So, in a sense, when you think about it, we gave it a 6.25 combined rating. No?
6 3/4.
6 3/4. Yeah, thank you. I missed the half. That's right. Okay. That's not so bad. So we gave it almost a 7. It's a recommended show. Give it a listen. It's got the Reality Rant stamp of approval.
If you like Jersey Shore, you'll like it. If you don't like Jersey Shore, you won't like it.
But if you like Jersey Shore, though, see, that's where I disagree with you. If you like Jersey Shore, you'll like it, but it's different. That's why if you didn't like Jersey Shore, give one episode a shot. You don't have to do 3, just one episode. Just give it a shot. You'll know right away if you're going to like it or not. Because the humor is a little bit different. Those two know each other so well and are such good friends. They're like best friends, like best friends.
I know.
They know each other so well.
The stripper and their DJ, they're perfect
They have
friends.
chemistry, that is there. So that's why when they're together, it's different. The humor's different. So check it out. But if you liked Jersey Shore, you're for sure going to want to watch it. Just sit down one day and binge it. It's good. Do you think it'd be a good idea if they watched season 1 as well?
Well, probably, because otherwise you would know nothing about any of the girls.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And you won't understand why Nikki is such a psychopath.
And by the way, those of you who are near us and are in Irvine, California, they have a chick on that show who's from Irvine, California.
And Nikki's from Los Angeles.
Yes.
The 2 most annoying people on the show from our area. Enjoy.
And you wonder why we want to leave this area. So.
Hold up. We want to leave this area to move to the place where they're all at, together, combined. All those irritating people.
No.
Stupid.
You just said one's in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
And one's in Irvine.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to move there where they're not. That's where they visit. Lots of weird people visit there. Lots of weird people visit here.
They all congregate as a dumbass herd there.
That's okay. It'd make me laugh if I saw them.
I'm sure it would.
I'd probably go get a selfie with Pauly D.
All right, you do that.
I'd at least ask. Seems
reasonable.
He'd probably do it. Seems like a cool dude.
Maybe. But you're not a screaming fangirl, so you might be less likely to get it to happen.
Yeah, I'd have to catch him out waiting in line for a drink or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or at a movie, waiting in line to go in a movie. Or these days, waiting in line to get into the Nike outlet. All things he probably doesn't have to do.
I was going to say, he probably hires people to do all those things for him.
I was going to say, he has his own, technically Postmates for that crap, so he doesn't have to go out.
Yep. Well, anyway, on that weird note, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.